Hello, it's LMTX. Today I will start a series about IoT Thing Management using AWS. I will present various aspects of Thing Management and how to do it in an effective way. I will present code samples to show you some best practices in this field. Today we will start with the IoT Thing Attributes with a quick introduction. In AWS Thing Registry, Thing is described using Thing name, Thing type, Thing attributes, Thing groups, and billing group. Today we are focusing on Thing attributes. Thing attributes are just key value pairs that allow us to store some metadata about this thing, for instance the firmware version, hardware version, or manufacturer. Using console is not very effective if you want to manage devices at a huge scale. That's why we are going to use boto3, which is Python SDK for AWS. Let's review this source code together. We are importing boto3 and creating boto3 session. We are defining the profile and region we want to work with. I think that's very important, because in the future you will use multiple AWS accounts and create resources in multiple regions. So being very specific about with which profile and which region you want to work with, that's very important. Then we are obtaining the IoT client from this session and creating our thing. We are defining the thing name, which is testthing 001 in our case, and attributes. That's very important, and this way you can define maximum 3 attributes and all of them needs to be of type string. We are using the firmware version, hardware version, and vendor as sample attributes. Finally, we are listing our things to verify if thing was actually created. So let's execute this script. As you can see, our thing was created, and we can check AWS console. There's our thing, and we've got our attributes defined, the same way as we defined them in our source code. This is a very brief introduction to IoT things and thing attributes and how to use boto3 to create resources in an effective way. I hope you found this video useful. I will add some useful links in notes for this video. All the best, LMTX.